Okay, so it's been about a week and a half, maybe a little less, since Amazon launched the brand new Kindle Vella platform in the United States. I think it's still United States only right now, as far as I know. But this is a brand new part of the Kindle store and the Kindle iOS app that specializes in serialized fiction, stories told across multiple episodes. And I made a few videos in the past talking about why I thought that this could be a really big deal for Amazon. It could be really exciting for readers and for authors. I made another video talking about how I went about approaching writing my story and publishing it on Kindle Vella. So if you're interested in any of that, I will be leaving the video links down below in the description of this video. But in this particular video, I want to talk about what my experience has been like so far as an author during this first week and a half on Vella. So we're going to take a look at some numbers, and I'll let you know whether I think Vella is a good idea for me right now going forward. But spoiler alert, I can just tell you that right now, based on the numbers that I'm seeing from my Kindle Vella dashboard, I'm not really encouraged about what the future might hold for Vella, at least in terms of my own work, but we'll dive some more into that right now. So before I show you the actual numbers on my Kindle Vella dashboard, I wanted to give you a little bit of an idea as to what sort of marketing efforts I made when the Vella store launched in order to get my story in front of my existing audience. So the first thing I did was I made a real quick short email that I sent out to my mailing list through MailChimp, which right now has somewhere between 3,000 and 4,000 subscribers. And then I also just basically took the same information and made a little Facebook post and posted it on my main Facebook author page, which I think has somewhere between 5,000 and 6,000 people that like or follow it. So a pretty healthy amount of people that hopefully were able to see the message that, hey, not only is Kindle Vella available, but I have a brand new story featuring a character that a lot of you have already read and enjoyed in the store as well. I'd really like it if you could go take a chance. Let me know what you think. So I never have a really good idea of exactly how many people, see that post on Facebook because of the way that their metrics are and how, let's be honest with you, Facebook can be a pay-to-play kind of game right now when it comes to promoting yourself. But over on MailChimp, I know that I did get about the same or the usual open rate and click rate that I would on a normal email for a new release or a pre-order or a discount or special that I'm running. So I know that the usual number of people, hopefully, that see the stuff that I promote likely saw the Kindle Vella announcement as well. So now let's look at the numbers that Amazon is reporting from my Kindle Vella dashboard. So right off the bat, you can see there's a lot of statistics that Amazon is tracking for Kindle Vella stories, but I'm not really sure how beneficial any of them are. But we're going to start with the big number first and foremost, and that is total number of episodes read. So since the launch of Kindle Vella, you can see I've got 287 total episodes read. Now, the interesting thing about this is not 287 people that have read the story, Lance Brody and the Ghost in the Crowd. They haven't read the complete story. This is just the number of episodes read. So my one story that's on Vella, I have broken down into 10 different episodes. And we're going to show you, I'm going to show you how those episodes break down in just a second. But it is interesting that they're not actually showing me anywhere on here a statistic for the people that have actually read the entire story in its entirety, which I don't really love. You kind of have to go down and scroll further into the data to get those numbers. But 287 episodes read. Right off the bat, I know that this is not great because if I was to launch a short story standalone in the Kindle store, I know that I could easily expect probably these kind of numbers for a brand new release within the first few days, if not the first, week and a half through a regular launch. So right off the bat, that's not a great number. The second number that I want to talk about is right next to this one, and that is the locked episodes read. So I mentioned in the previous videos that I talked about with Kindle Vella that one of the big, marketing things that Amazon was doing to help readers try to find stories that they wanted to read on Vella was the fact that they were going to let all readers read the first 3 episodes of any story for free. And I was okay with this because this is essentially the same thing as going to the regular Kindle store and downloading the sample of a book that you think you might want to read. It gives you, the first X amount of pages you can read. If you like it, then you can go ahead and buy the book. If not, no worries, you move on to the next thing. So I was completely cool with the first 3 being for free. And you can see the difference here between the number of episodes that were read and the number of episodes that were locked and read. You've got over 100 difference there. So right off the bat, I know that there's a good chance that not everybody that has started reading the story is actually reading it to the very end. The next 2 numbers I want to talk about are some of the things that Amazon is doing a little different in terms of reader and author engagement. And the first thing is the episode thumbs up. So this is, essentially the equivalent of like a social media like on Facebook or a like on Instagram, where if a reader likes an episode, they can give it a thumbs up. This is supposed to help the author know which are the most popular episodes in their story. I guess there could be good information to be gleaned from that if you know that this particular episode featured these characters or had this kind of action or whatever. You would know readers like that, and you may potentially want to start writing more like that in the future. I don't know, but it does show you that there's been 154 total thumbs up, again, spread across multiple episodes. So we will dive down a little further and see how this breaks down. But the next one that's more of the kind of social engagement, I guess, if you will, is the story follows. Now, I have 49 total follows on this story, and my guess is the way that this is supposed to work is that if you follow a story that is not yet complete, for example, if I had chosen to, instead of publishing all 10 of the story or the episodes for this story at one time, if I instead decided to do it maybe a week at a time, like a television show might do for episodic fiction, if you follow the story, I'm sure that means you would get some sort of alert on your Kindle app on your phone, maybe an email that would let you know when the next episode was available. So that's kind of cool. I get that. But at the same time, if the entire story is already complete and there is no more being published, which there is an option when you publish the story on Kindle Vella as the author to say whether this is ongoing or whether this is completed, this doesn't really do these followers any good because there's not going to be any more. So I would almost think that if you published the story on Vella as an author and you tick that box that said that the story was complete, I'm not sure why it's still giving the readers an option to follow the story unless I'm just missing something there. And then, of course, there are also story reviews, which I'm assuming this is the equivalent of just a review on the regular Kindle store for a normal book. I've got 4 reviews, which based on the number of people that seem to have finished the entire story, I would say that's probably pretty good, pretty average for the number of readers versus the number of reviews I might get on a normal book. Not too worried about that, don't really care. The good news is all 4 of them seem to really like it because they gave it 5 out of 5 stars. So that is pretty cool. But here's the number that I want to talk about that really has been what has discouraged me in terms of deciding whether or not I would like to publish more works on Vella in the future. And that is just simply that despite 287 episodes read, 163 episodes that have been locked, which in theory should be episodes that people have spent tokens on, which means that I should be getting a few cents here and there for those episodes. Despite all that, despite the 154 thumbs up, the total amount that I have earned this month for Lance Brody and the Ghost in the Crowd is a whopping $1 US. Now, I don't know if this is rounded up or down or how exactly this is, what the specific number is here, but right now it is at $1. And you can see why right here when we dig down a little deeper into the episode count. So you can see, like I mentioned before, they do give us some nice stats on each individual episodes. And unfortunately, for me at least, it looks like the number of people that have started reading the story with episode 1, I'm not getting many of them that get all the way to the very end. Less than half, actually, that have started episode 1 have actually made it to episode 10. Maybe I didn't make the first story engaging enough, I don't know. But it is kind of interesting to me that, you can see the first 3 episodes, which again are the ones for free that Amazon is letting people read, right out of the gate, no charge, has the highest number of read counts, which, that kind of makes sense to me. And you can see that all the rest of them are pretty much the same. So it looks like once people start spending tokens on a story, the majority of them are continuing to spend tokens and finish the entire story. But the part that really threw me on this, and the part that kind of bummed me out, was if you look over at the royalties that I'm getting paid for each of those individual episodes, for the total episode counts, or total number of reads that each episode has, it's very small, 9 cents, 9 cents, 6 cents, 7 cents. And the problem with this is not only is this a very, very small royalty rate, which, I mean, I knew it wasn't going to be great based on some of the numbers that Amazon had provided to us in the beginning. I was prepared for that. But the thing that made this kind of disheartening for me was I found out through my own experimentation with the Vella store, and then I had readers who were commenting to me and sending me some notes on Facebook talking about Vella because I asked them what their thoughts were. Amazon, right out of the gate, as far as I know, having not told any of the authors this in any of the communications, is giving everybody, every new reader to the Kindle Vella store, 200 free tokens. So essentially, every reader that signs up for Vella or enables Vella in their app, or however that works exactly, they're getting 200 tokens right off the bat. So when you have somebody like me who was testing the water with Kindle Vella with a shorter story, something that was roughly about 12 to 13,000 words, a short story, something that I would publish normally on the Kindle store for just 99 cents, maybe throw it in Kindle Unlimited as well. I marketed this to an audience that I already had built up, the people that I knew would probably be excited and be willing to spend, a couple dollars here and there to read my work. I marketed it to them thinking, hey, I might see how this works. Hopefully they'll like it, they'll read it. Maybe it'll, add a little bit of extra income to the monthly stream from my business. And all those people right out the gate are getting 200 coins, and I'm not getting any money for this story. So whereas in the past, the majority of a launch day or a launch week or even a launch month for a new release to me would be guaranteed income from my true fans, the readers of my work that like it and are waiting for more and are willing to spend money on my work, or people that are in Kindle Unlimited that are going to check the book out as part of their monthly subscription. I know that they would make up the majority of the income for that first month, and then hopefully if the book does well and it climbs the Amazon charts, or word of mouth works out, or I'm advertising the series and I find new readers who read through to the end for the later books, it'll grow and it'll snowball after the fact. With Kindle Vella, it didn't work that way. Basically, all the marketing efforts that I did in the beginning that would normally generate income for me for a new release has amounted to $1 because the store is brand new and Amazon's giving everybody 200 free tokens, which is more than enough to read my entire story. So that kind of sucks. I wish I would have known about that in the beginning, because honestly, maybe I would have waited a little bit to let my readers know that the new story was available, that the Kindle Vella store was open, to maybe try to generate a little more income. Because at the end of the day, as much as I want people to read the story, this is a business for me, and the idea is to generate income so I can continue to write things and make things up for a living. But that's not to say that I don't completely appreciate the readers who have gone out and read my story on Kindle Vella. From the beginning, this has always been a bit of an experiment for me with Vella. I wanted to see how the platform worked, what it was like to publish something on there, and just get a feel for what it was going to be like, both as an author publishing and as a reader who might go in looking for new stories to read. So I'm very thankful and grateful to everybody who did read the story, and in fact, enough of my audience did read it and give it thumbs up and favorited the story that after the first couple days that the Vella store had launched, my story actually was one of the top favorited stories in the Vella store in 2 different categories. I think it was paranormal and mystery. So that was really cool. It was nice to get that little gold crown for a little bit, which just goes to show you that if you do have an audience, I think that there is room for success on Vella. I just don't know what that success on Vella actually relates to in terms of growing your business and generating additional income. But all in all, for me so far, I think I can go ahead and say that it's been a little bit of a failed endeavor, my story on Vella, that is, because there's a couple things that happened that kind of discouraged me. I know that I alienated some readers by making this story exclusively available on Kindle Vella. There's a lot of my readers that only read paperback, and in fact have been willing to purchase the paperback copies of my existing short stories, even though they're very small. And there's some that just, don't really have an iPhone or don't want to get involved with Vella, another platform they have to, figure out how to use and understand the token system. They just want to go to the store, buy the book, and read it. They don't want to figure out something else. And I get that completely. So I know that I've alienated readers by doing this exclusively on Vella. I've also alienated readers because right now the Vella store is only in the United States, and I have a large readership in the UK, also some in Australia. So those are people that are not going to be able to read this story as it is as long as Vella is United States only. The other thing that, again, is a little discouraging from a business perspective is that I know that if I had written this short story and published it on the Kindle store, traditionally at that 99-cent price point, or even put it into Kindle Unlimited, I would have made significantly more money, even with the numbers that I'm seeing on the Kindle Vella store. If I had gotten, even half the amount of purchases that I had gotten from page reads, or excuse me, episode reads of the story, at that 99-cent price point, I would have made a lot more money, which, again, this is a business. This is how I make my living. Hopefully, the more stories I can write and put out there and more people buy them, that means the longer I get to do this. So that was discouraging as well. But again, if you saw my previous video where I was talking about how I was approaching writing my story for Vella, you will remember that there was a reason that I wanted to test it specifically with a short story. And this is why. I did not want to waste a lot of time and effort and resources into creating a full-length novel or a much longer story to put onto a platform that is essentially untested, to have the potential to greatly diminish the ROI that I might normally get by publishing a book in the traditional way on the Kindle store with a paperback counterpart. So all in all, right now, the verdict for me is I'm not seeing any numbers that indicate this is something that I'm going to pursue further with additional stories. That's not to say that I won't write more for Vella if things start changing, if I start seeing an uptick, or if I get an idea that I just genuinely think might work better on Vella as episodes than as a short story or a full-length work on the traditional Kindle store. I will say that unless something drastic happens with the numbers I'm seeing now with the Lance Brody story, if I do write something else for Vella, it will probably be not featuring Lance. I think I will try to avoid using the main character from my series in Vella because, again, I feel like I'm just alienating readers and fans of that series that would love to read the story but just can't or won't for one reason or another because of the fact that it's exclusive to Vella. So that's just my experience so far. We'll see how it goes. I'm not knocking the platform. I do still think it's a really fun and cool idea. I do still think it's going to attract a lot of new readers, potentially younger readers who are used to this kind of reading and also microtransactions, from games on the iPad or the iPhone, and just that whole culture that they've developed there with the younger generation. I think it's exciting. I like that Amazon is trying new things, trying to develop new tools for authors. And I think, again, the more readers you can attract through different methods, the better for everybody in the industry. So that is really fun and exciting. But as of right now, for me, it just doesn't seem to be working out the way I thought it might. Again, it's still early, but if you're writing and you're on Kindle Vella, let me know what your experience has been so far, what you think, how it compares to stuff you've done in the past, what your opinion is of the platform going forward. I would love to know. Leave me a comment down below. But that's it for me today, guys. I appreciate you watching. If you like this video, please leave it a thumbs up down below. Subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see future videos, and I will talk to you in the next one. Bye.